So I want to dive into the investment side, and we can both share. But I want to hear like what was kind of your strategy in picking the duplex that you ultimately picked.
That was the first thing I
First,
saw. I had no strategy. In hindsight, I had no strategy. It ended up working out just because I trusted him. And the guy who sold it to me was a friend of my dad's. So he wasn't going to set me up. So I kind of just rolled with whatever he said. Being 22, 23, I
Mhm.
didn't really know what to look for. But in hindsight, the way you said the house was all renovated and fixed up, it was like very nice. From an investment standpoint, I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't buy a house that was fixed up and nice already, because then that all those amenities that you see that make people feel good, you pay for that when you're
Pay
buying.
double probably.
You pay double. It's better to buy something that's not as nice and then you do the fix it on your own dime and then charge somebody else for after your work. That's where the real money gets made. But for me, it worked out because I was still paying a cheap mortgage and I wasn't as investment savvy. I just knew I wanted to get something I could afford and could own later.
Mhm. So how much did you pay? How much is it worth now? What was the neighborhood like back then? Can you walk us through that?
So I bought it for $199. I'd say it'll probably get appraised around $300 now. The neighborhood back then, the neighborhood was South Philly. If you don't know South Philly, it was the semi hood, I guess I would say. Like,
Yeah, because it's right there on that like border-ish of, once
exactly.
you cross.
If I was a block and a half over, it could have been rough.
Yeah.
But sometimes the stuff that happens a block and a half over spills over to your block, so you get some crime and police activity. But overall, it wasn't terrible. I wasn't afraid for my life living there. And the neighborhood now, it's just getting bought up.
Yeah, you're definitely not afraid for your life.
No, definitely not. A lot of ladies jogging at night that wouldn't have been around.
A lot more dogs of various breeds.
Yeah, a lot more dogs. New construction going up everywhere. So I lucked out because I didn't see that happening. I didn't see that happening when I bought it.
Right across from you used to be a vacant lot.
Well, actually, when you knew me, it was a vacant lot. When I bought it, it was an apartment building, a 26-unit apartment building.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Was it pretty rundown, I'm assuming?
No. It was. I mean, it was just an apartment building.
Just
like
average.
People running in and out. Yeah. I didn't really get to know the neighbors, but I recognized. I would say it was 26 units. I probably recognized maybe 30 people that lived just from seeing them go in and out from across the street. And then, like 9 months into living there, my block is on the news. It's like the 12 o'clock news, and it's like 5-alarm fire.
Man.
On 4th Street. I was like, wait, that building looks like the building. Wait, that's like, my house.
I'm on 4th Street.
Long story short, it was actually a meth lab that exploded and burnt the entire building down to the ground. My clothes smelled like smoke for a week from being across the street.
Oh my God.
So like 2 weeks later, there's a big demo crew taking all the wreckage out and just clearing it out. And then it was an empty lot for like 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, because I think probably I bought my house in 2018. So probably around that time I was riding through and I was like, wait, that's Twan's spot right there. I was like, what's different about this street? And now it's like a 3 or 4 story building with what 3 houses are maybe there right now. I don't even know if they're apartments or what. But
it's 4 separate houses. They face opposite, and they got a shared driveway where, like, right in front of my house, you make a left into the shared driveway, and all 4 of them have garages. And if anyone knows South Philly, having a garage in South Philly,
yeah, that's a big deal. Like,
big major deal,
yeah,
because I had to park around the corner many times.
and walk and like might forget where you park.
Right.
Like I've done it a couple of times.
Or park at the school down the street and have to wake up at
Yep.
6:15 to make sure you don't get towed.
Right. Oh man. But yeah, so like I guess you helped me learn what to do and what not to do. So, you know, fast forward to 2018 after I had lived at home for a minute. You know, when we were looking for houses, I feel like we came up with more of a strategy on where I should look, because it's that balance between you want something that's decent that you can rent out, generate good cash flow, but then you don't want something that necessarily, like you said, someone put a ton of work into, because then you're overpaying. It's going to be hard to get that bang for your buck. It's going to be hard to get that return. So we kind of, I guess at the time that I was buying and the time you were buying, South Philly was different. You know, there's been in recent years, I can tell you from the time I was in college to when I graduated, my neighborhood began to look significantly different. Like each time I would come home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, summer break, there were always like new houses being built. And I'm not just talking about 1 or 2, I'm talking about like blocks being redone to the point where I can't even tell you, like Christian Street, where all those new houses are, I can't even tell you what that block used to look like before I went to college, right?
Right.
And I watched them build it.
Right.
So there's like so many streets in my neighborhood where I just can't remember at all what it used to look like, even though I used to pass by these streets every day of my life on my way to and from school and things like that. So, you know, I knew right where I grew up, probably be a little bit pricey, but I also realized I'm like, hey, over time, people begin building more and more and further out in the neighborhood. So like when I left for college, you know, all the development probably was at like probably south to like, let's call it Carpenter-ish, like that area was hot.
All right, yeah.
And then, you know, I get in my sophomore, junior year, and next thing you know, like I was from Philly, and my freshman year roommate was from Chicago, so we used to talk about like whose neighborhood was more hood, right?
Oh,
and,
God.
You know, and some of it we used to just like,
make up stuff.
Yeah, we had some hyperbole just because people, they had no clue. I brought him home with me for Thanksgiving, right? And we're walking, and he's like, yeah, you got a white lady walking a dog. Like what is this? And I was just like, bro, it wasn't like that when we met. Like this is new.
This is new.
Yeah, this is unusual. But so I knew that eventually, you know, I felt like I just wanted to be on kind of the outskirts of the development. That way, you know, 5, maybe 10, if I'm unlucky, they'll start building near the house that I bought. I can tell you after 2 years of living there, it's there. You know, right around the corner from me, I got those houses that's across from you, minus the garage, but they're selling for like $350, $400, which only ends up helping the value of my house. So for someone starting to look for a house, what are some things they need to know about? Like how many houses should they look at? A lot of people have questions about like pre-approval letters and what exactly that means and what goes into that. Can you walk us through at least those 2 elements?